Welcome to the 8th Annual Martin Luther King Community Celebration, a message to the future from Keepers of the Dream. Hosted by Alabama's very own Tanya Terry.
But there was another letter that came from a little girl, a young girl, who was a student at the White Plains High School. And I looked at that letter and I'll never forget it. It said simply, "Dear Dr. King, I am a 9th grade student at the White Plains High School." She said, "While it should not matter, I would like to mention that I'm a white girl. I read in the paper of your misfortune and of your suffering. And I read that if you had sneezed, you would have died. And I'm simply writing you to say that I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze. I want to say tonight that I too am happy that I didn't sneeze, because if I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1960.
For the 8th year, in the spirit of the beloved community, we honor the memory and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was not only a drum major for justice, but an example of truth that marches on in the hearts of people all over the world. We remember his powerful speeches and his tireless work for the cause of justice. For the annual MLK Community Celebration, it was conceived by Dr. Tommy Tania Stewart 8 years ago to bring attention to Dr. King's legacy and to recognize citizens who foster his ideals, unite our community, and inspire our children, who will one day bear the legacy of love, peace, brotherhood, and service for which Dr. King will forever be known. Our honorees this year are contemporary keepers of the dream who lend their gifts, their artistry to building community, honoring legacy, and connecting us all to the essence of the beauty in its many expressions. Their work reflects the hope that was central to the civil rights movement and still has the power to move us forward. Our first honoree is Mr. John W. Fagan, who actually worked and walked alongside Dr. King and created striking visual art pieces that forever memorialize the path toward building the beloved community. Mr. John W. Fagan was born in Birmingham and attended Alabama State University, receiving bachelor and master degrees in art education. He taught art in the Montgomery Public Schools for over 30 years, practicing his love for painting, designing murals, and judging several art competitions for the city of Montgomery. He painted the famous mural in the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church depicting Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Mr. Fagan emphasized that he wanted that mural to reflect the actual history, so so that 100 years from now, people would still know this is what it looked like and this is what happened. John Fagan has also designed several murals for the National Center for the Study of Civil Rights and African American Culture. His truth lives through his work.
I would like to thank Dr. Stewart and the theater, Dr. Franklin of the National Center for the Study of Civil Rights and African American Affairs for this award, for remembering me, for remembering the work that I've done, and for remembering the civil rights movement with Dr. King. I was fortunate enough to start at Dexter King Church with Dr. King some 65 years ago. Thank you very much.
For 8 years now, Friends of the Theater have led the city of Montgomery and the River region in perpetuating the work and vision of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by honoring citizens as keepers of the dream. Congratulations to the 2022 Beloved Community Award recipients. We're grateful for the service that you provided, and we appreciate all the leadership that you've shown in this community by continuing to uphold the dream. It is so important for all of us to keep in mind that there's a role for us to play, even today, as we celebrate Dr. King's holiday and birthday, that we do our part to make sure that Montgomery, the River region, and Alabama continues to strive to be a beloved community. We appreciate all the efforts and all the initiatives that all of our recipients have put forth, and we look forward to continue to partner with you and everyone else in the city as we honor the legacy and the life of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
My home is over Jordan, deep river. I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you want to go to that gospel feast, that promised land, where all is peace? Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Swing low, swing low, swing low.
This year's next honoree is well known in the River region for his unique art and for the work he does with youth in the community. Through all types of visual arts, Mr. Kevin King inspires creativity and life. Kevin King is founder and executive director of the King's Canvas, a creative placemaking space providing community, opportunity, and access to the arts for underdeveloped, underexposed artists. The King's Canvas connects diverse people through the arts by designing and planning projects that reflect, celebrate, and inspire local culture, heritage, and values within the community. A native of Mobile, Kevin, his wife Nicole, and daughter Kaya have a passion to love and serve and share life with others for the purpose of transformation as leaders are developed and empowered in their community. In 2013, Kevin's wife and daughter gifted him art supplies for Father's Day. He found a new place of joy and freedom and the benefits that he receives when he creates. He is a selfless individual who relentlessly opens doors for others once he realizes they might not have those same opportunities.
First of all, I'd like to thank Friends of the Theater, WSFA, and the beloved community. I don't even feel like I deserve this award. To follow in the footsteps of Dr. King, some large shoes to fill. I'm just so thankful that they chose me for this Keeper of the Dream Award. This is amazing, and I just thank everyone, and I'm just so appreciative. Our community thanks you, I thank you, our artists who are involved with the King's Canvas, youth and adults alike, we all thank you.
Wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much, what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. 'Cause they're the ones who's coming up, the words in their hands. So when you teach their children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. The world won't get no better.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The time is always right to do the right thing." Troy University congratulates the winners of the Beloved Community Award for doing the right thing by keeping Dr. King's dream alive. At Troy, we are so incredibly proud to cultivate leaders who share Dr. King's vision of liberty and fairness, as well as his commitment to excellence. Again, congratulations to the winners of the Beloved Community Award. You are truly making a difference.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
This year's honorees, artists in their own rights, have lent their talents to the cultural development and historical preservation of the rich Alabama heritage that we celebrate this evening. On behalf of the Montgomery County Commission, Chairman Elton Dean, we salute you, and the legend of the theater, Dr. Tommy Stewart.
I never lost my hope. I never lost my joy. I never lost my faith, but
we dedicate this year's celebration in honor of these founding members of Friends of the Theater, Mrs. Dorothy Mells and Colonel Robert Farmesler. Their vision and commitment will never be forgotten.
When I lost my focus and went.
Our next honoree is Michelle Browder, a native of Denver, Colorado. But her family moved to Vervina, Alabama in the late 70s, where she experienced bullying through racial bias and began responding through physical confrontations that led to multiple suspensions. Michelle's father gave her an ultimatum: prison or art. He challenged her to seize the moment, to be creative, and she did. After graduation, she moved to Atlanta and attended the Art Institute, studying graphic design and visual communications. Now Michelle uses her art, history, and real talk conversations to mentor marginalized students. She created art diversion programs used by juvenile detention centers in Atlanta and Montgomery. Her art has been shown in galleries across the country, as well as the Rosa Parks Museum. The founder and director of I Am More Than Youth Empowerment Initiative and More Than Tours, Michelle's mission is simple: exposing our children to the truth will give them access to a seat at the table. Her latest creation honors 3 unsung African American women, Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsy, with a powerful tribute monument titled The Mothers of Gynecology. This work has garnered national recognition as it brings awareness and historical clarity.
I would like to thank the Friends of the Theater here in Montgomery, along with WSFA, for this award. I'm humbled, I'm grateful, but more so I'm really touched because Dr. King, one of the things that he said while he was sitting in the Birmingham jail was that what the world and what the nation and what the South needs more of are creative extremists. And I take that seriously, and so therefore I call myself a creative extremist, meaning that I use my creative talents to tell the truth about this history that is now unfortunately trying to be swept under the rug. But I just want to say thank you for the encouragement and the strength that you have shown myself and the mothers today. I'm very grateful, and thank you.
Alabama State University appreciates and understands the importance of Dr. King's legacy. Our students, faculty, staff, and alumni walked arm in arm with Dr. King as he led the March for Equality. We congratulate the honorees for keeping the dream alive, and thank you to the Friends of the Theater for the invaluable work you're doing in our community.
Our final honoree this year is a part of our community, and through his leadership at WSFA, Mr. Mark Bunting has brought a new vision for sharing news as well as serving the community. Mr. Mark Bunting uses the powerful voice of television to help the community, whether through philanthropic activities or by being a resource providing information and guidance for those in need. The end goal, he says, is to help those we can and make our community a better place for all to live and prosper. As general manager at WSFA TV, Mr. Bunting has served on the boards for the Montgomery Area Food Bank, Alabama Shakespeare Festival, Ronald McDonald House, Child Protect, the Salvation Army, Distinguished Young Women, and the Montgomery Area Business Community for the Arts. Other organizations impacted by Mark's leadership include the Salvation Army, Toys for Tots, the Christmas Clearinghouse, Valiant Cross, Boys and Girls Club, Alabama Dance Theater, the United Way, the American Cancer Society, Renaissance, Max Kids, American Red Cross, Friends of the Theater, Life South, Mercy House, and the MAP Center. WSFA has hosted telethons and phone banks, food and toy drives, and awareness campaigns to which viewers give with open hearts. Mark says helping others is something each of us is called upon to do. Using the highly regarded and trusted megaphone of WSFA helps me and our staff in our efforts to assist others. He goes on to say, "My father always told me to treat people as you wish to be treated. I have learned and benefited from applying this very simple rule and realized that living by it helps so many. I hope that my efforts to live out this rule encourages others to do the same so that we can all lift up our community to be the best it can be." Mark and his wife Melanie have 2 children, Kelly and Jeffrey, and a new grandson.
This truly is an amazing honor, and I gratefully accept the gifts that were presented, but I have to say that what we do at WSFA is not me, it's a group of people. And I work with some of the finest people you will ever imagine working with. And my commitment has always been to try to help the community. I believe that is something that we as a TV station should always do. My father instilled in me early on that it's important to help other people. And I think that's what we're doing. And our gift to Mercy House, I work for a great company that allowed us to do that. The fact that we had a telethon that was amazing in terms of the amount of money that we were able to raise for them. But what that building will now do, first of all, it served as a wonderful resource for the community for 65 years. And now it serves as an additional resource because it's now helping the community and helping so many different groups of people that need help. There are so many people in this town that need help, and I think it's important that we as a television station continue to do what we can do to offer a helping hand. I gratefully accept this wonderful recognition from the Friends of the Theater and this beloved community.
Thank you for joining us as we continue this beautiful collaboration between the Friends of the Theater, Alabama State University, Troy University, WSFA, and so many more community supporters. The proceeds from this celebration support students from ASU, Troy University, the Montgomery Public School System, our summer performing arts camps, and many more. We need your help to continue this legacy.
But there was another letter that came from a little girl, a young girl, who was a student at the White Plains High School. And I looked at that letter and I'll never forget it. It said simply, "Dear Dr. King, I am a 9th grade student at the White Plains High School." She said, "While it should not matter, I would like to mention that I'm a white girl. I read in the paper of your misfortune and of your suffering. And I read that if you had sneezed, you would have died. And I'm simply writing you to say that I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze. And I want to say tonight, that I too am happy that I didn't sneeze, because if I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1960 when students all over the South started sitting in at lunch counters. And I knew that as they were sitting in, they were really standing up for the best in the American dream and taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1961 when we decided to take a ride for freedom and ended segregation in interstate travel. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1962 when Negroes in Albany, Georgia decided to straighten their backs up. And whenever men and